I'm LaKeshia.
Hey, I'm Natalie.
And this is Life Cracks Us Up.
So, I've been thinking recently about whether or not my life would be different if I knew things now. No, if I knew
things. If you knew then what you know now.
That's it.
That's it.
If
That's
I knew, yeah. So I've been kind of thinking about that, and the reason I've been thinking about it is because I'm a woman of a particular age, cute and 51.
All right now.
But it's kind of time to start thinking about what's next. You know what I mean? Like, when am I truly going to retire? I think it's different now for us than it was, for the generation before us, and it's different for us than it's going to be for the generation coming behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Is there even going to be Social Security? Is there even going to be, those incomes or whatever? So I was thinking, if I knew back then what I know now, like, what would I have done differently? I'm pretty sure that I would have loved to have had conversations about finances and savings and investments and retirement and college savings and all. It just wasn't things we talked about then. It wasn't things that our parents were knowledgeable about.
Exactly.
So it wasn't things that were communicated to us. I look at some people who never really worked. They just invested very well. Yeah. They just made good
financial decisions.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about that either. I think about that too. Yeah. My mom didn't know it, so she couldn't teach me. We didn't talk about money. I was just hoping the lights would be on when I got home from school.
Right. And Lord knows they don't teach you in school.
No. Oh, gosh. No. So that's something that I've been working with as well. And like you said, I'm the same age as you. And so now I'm talking to kids about stuff like that, because as much as I wish I could turn back the hands of time and make it right for me,
right.
I just don't want them to have to go through that, because it's not required. The struggle is not necessary.
Not.
And it's not hard to do if you have the knowledge and the tools. Because like they have these things, like if you save a certain amount, every pay period or whatever, you can be a millionaire. And I used to always think millionaires like, oh, that could never happen. But
right.
Yeah,
it's very
it could.
Right.
It's
very achievable.
Like even to the point where like people, when you're working your job and you get a raise, and as soon as you make more money, you spend more money. But you were living without it before, right? So if you were to save it or investing, and even there's a difference between saving and investing. Because like I guess maybe back generations before, they put that money in the mattress, didn't earn a penny. But now you put it in the savings account, you're a penny. You can get something, but but it's still better than nothing. So it's a progression. But I think if we start these kids off young, and now we talk about the fact that we have teens, so we still give it to them. But I'm going into these younger, talking to younger kids. You're not too early. It's never too early,
right,
to start understanding the value of money,
right,
because money is a tool. Like you ever heard money's the root of all evil, and that's not it. It's the love of money,
right? So that's the problem,
right? If you put the desired money before all else, yes, you can get yourself in trouble. But money is necessary,
right?
Like I even struggle with it because I want to help people, and I'll give it all away if I could, my time, my energy, everything. But I realize
I need everyone to understand that is a true statement. There is nothing more true.
But I realize the hard lesson is that if I don't have money to buy the things to give away,
right.
So I'm working on that to be able to find a way to finance these things I want to do, because a lot of the people I want to help may not be able to afford what it is. So I have to, I like to thought nonprofit meant no money, but I realized that's not true either.
Right.
So I'm really, working within myself to be able to step up and ask for what I need in order to give people what they need.
Right.
Because like I said, poverty is not, it doesn't have to be. Right. Even if you've had that generational poverty, which is, what I came up in. No, I want generational wealth. I will teach everybody everything I know. I want you to go home and tell your mama, have her mama tell her friends. I want everybody to be okay. You don't have to be Bill Gates,
right?
But you can have these things. But we need to know this now. And it's not even too late for us.
It's not. And that's kind of where my train of thought was over the last couple of days. Like I said, a lot's been going on in my life. And that's one of the things that I truly have to think about as a single parent of 2 Black females. I need for them to understand what life is going to throw at them. I started working full time when I was 14. I faked my working papers at school.
You know what?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I worked at a store called Playtogs where I grew up. And a lot of us actually did that at that time. Yeah, faked our work. I mean, it was like, honestly, no one really gave a shit. Like, we weren't filing taxes and all that stuff. You know what I mean? We weren't making enough to file taxes. I think we were making like $4 or $5 an hour. You know what I mean? This is back in the early 80s. So come on, like, there was no real money in this store. Although Playtogs hung on for a very long time in that town. But I say all that to say, started working. That's kind of, my mom was a single parent. Thank God for my grandmother, who was my father's biological mom, but my mom's mom for all intents and purposes, because my mom and dad were together since they were like 16, 17, something crazy like that. So my mom was the only mom she knew, because my mom grew up in foster care. So, wow, I really went to the left.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say was, my mom was a single parent and did an excellent job raising 3 children on her own.
Wow.
For the most part, because like I said, she had the help of my grandmother. But my mom was responsible for all 3 of us on her own. So in my mind, help out a little bit, at least be able to buy your own stuff, at least be able to buy your own toiletries and stuff. Well, in my mind, in my head, that's where I was going. But as I told you before, I grew up early. So a lot of my money went towards 40s.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I worked. I've never been out of work since I was 14, except for 2 years. Actually, no, closer to like a year and some change. When I worked for a company in the town where I grew up in Middletown, and 9/11 happened, and I was laid off. So I collected unemployment for that year and like a year and a half. And that's actually when I moved down to Virginia. So I didn't work for that year and a half. And there was a very short period when I first moved back to my hometown before I got that job. So I say all that to say, I've worked pretty much my entire life. And when you talk about saving and could have been a millionaire, I'm pretty sure had I had the knowledge I have now, that had I done things differently, I don't know if I'd be a millionaire, but I'd be a better well-off.
Yeah, a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I'd be a lot more. Yeah, I'd be a lot more comfortable. But it's like we said before, it goes back to generations. That's not something that our parents were educated on, because otherwise I'm sure my mom would have had a different life. So that with our kids now, all we can do is, I'm a firm believer in, with my kids, I will try every single solitary thing I can to make you a good person when you leave my house.
Yes.
But once you leave my house, there's not a lot I can do. I have to depend on you thinking back to everything that I've tried to tell you and teach you. It kind of scares me sometimes because they swear they know everything.
Yes, they do.
I just literally, on the ride here to your house, I had to tell my 11-year-old, stop believing everything people tell you. Somebody told her something about a shark swimming under their boat in the Chesapeake. Stop it. Your friend did not have a shark swim under their boat. Your friend probably doesn't have a boat.
Right.
I see this, like, she goes to the same school you go to. I see them motherfuckers. Like, but yeah. It comes down to education. Schools are not helping.
That's that. That's, like you said, I believe in planting the seeds. That's all you can do.
Yep.
Because you're right. You can't make, and I tell her that all the time. It's like, I can't make you do what I know is best for you, but I will keep telling you.
Absolutely.
So hopefully when the situation arrives, it'll click like, oh,
something.
this
Yes.
is so that's what I'm just gonna keep pouring it in. I'm just gonna keep pouring it in.
Yeah.
I don't care, if it's leaking out, I'm just gonna keep
talk to me, baby. Converse with me now. We would love to hear what you have to say. I know we're not the only ones who finds life funny.
So, what's on your mind? Does life crack you up like it cracks us up? We want to hear about it.
How about you like, share, follow, and subscribe? Both the girls have a savings account. And each one of my pay periods, I put, it just automatically goes. It designates that a certain amount of money into both of their savings accounts. They don't even know they have it.
Yeah, and that's the way. Even if it's you're putting for yourself, like you make it automatic, like you said, so you don't have to worry about remembering or deciding to do something else with it. Make it automatic, and that's one easy way to get in the habit of putting the money where it belongs, and then to educate yourself too. If it's like I said, I didn't grow up knowing anything about money and finances. I don't even know how I managed to take care of myself in the beginning, the early years. It's like I didn't know. I didn't have a concept.
I will say I am not good with money. I'm truly not. I'm not good. I'm hoping that the decisions I've made in the past don't dictate my retirement. I'm hoping that I at least have enough time now that I'm mentally, that I've at least given myself some knowledge. I'm hoping that it's not too late, basically. But I will say that I am envious of you and my BFF. I never got her permission to share her name. You know who you are. But we just had this conversation yesterday. But I am so envious of the two of you. Like the whole spreadsheets and the budgets and the this goes here and this goes here. Me, but I love those shoes. I love them.
So why not have them?
Absolutely. Oh. So I don't have the restraint that you all have.
It's interesting you should say that. Because no, budget used to be a dirty word in my house. Because we had money and it was somewhere. It's like I just didn't know how to handle it. So one day my husband's like, look, we gonna stop this mess we doing right here. Because let me tell you, like I say, I had money, but it was in a different account. But I'm in Walmart and the car's like, card declined. I was like, hold on a minute, let me transfer this money. Worse than that, my husband's a truck driver. At the time, we had our own truck, so you have your own gas. And look, you know how much it costs for gas in your car now. Imagine putting gas in a rig. Girl, when I tell you, my husband called me from the road hot to death, like the card was declined. It's like, hold on a minute, let me transfer from Peter and put it in the ball. Right, and that's what I was doing. So finally, he sat me down one day. It's like, we're not doing this anymore. Right. So he's like, we're going to get this budget, this B word, and this is how we're going to manage the money. We went to the envelope systems. Like if it's not put in the envelope for the certain thing, and if it's not there, you can't spend it. So, girl, when I tell you, I was crying, real tears. I was sitting there like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Like, I just can't. And it was so hard because like you go to the grocery store and you look in the envelope, and when it's empty, it's empty. Whatever that thing is you wanted to buy, if it's in that particular envelope, you can do it. But it's different using cash versus card. Because I swipe all day, but when you actually see it and it makes a difference, that changed my life. Yeah, it was hard. It was a long struggle, but we managed to get out of debt. And so it really worked. But it was hard. It was really hard for me to stop and identify that I'm not doing this right or not doing this the best I can. And it's not benefiting anybody.
Yeah, I'm the problem.
Right.
I'm the problem here.
It is. It was me. And like I said, I cried. I was mad. I was embarrassed to be up in there with an envelope of cash. Let me put that back, Ray. I'll put the Twinkies back. Yeah.
I don't have anyone to hold me accountable. It's just me. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's another thing that I struggle with. I talk about, being happily single and I have no real regrets, I should say, about being single. Are there areas that I would like to have a mate? Absolutely. This is one of those areas. Life would be different if I had a second income in my house.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Life would be way different if I had a second income in the house. However, the drama of another person would come along with that. But yeah, so I don't have anyone to hold me accountable as hard as my BFF tries. But her being 4 hours away, what are you gonna do about it? Right? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? You're gonna talk my ear off? What are you gonna do about it? But yeah, like you said, your husband had to sit you down like, yo, you're doing the most right now, and this is not working. In my house, I got 2 kids who say, yeah, let's go to the
right. Let's get it. Let's
go skating.
Right, you're right.
Yeah,
because kids will. It's like, because oh gosh, like the thing about when my daughter first was out there doing money, and I didn't know at that time when she was, in those formidable ages, and she was like, "What do you mean you don't have money? You got checks,
girl." That is, both of my children have used that one. No. Like, you got a credit card, just use your credit card.
Better than that, when she had a debit card and she got an overdraft, she said it was the bank's fault. They knew she didn't have any money. They shouldn't have let her. I was like, you can say it all you want to, but they want their money.
Right.
They don't get their money.
Right. She actually has a point. Why don't you just decline it?
I know, right?
Why pay it?
But you know what?
You saw I didn't have it in there.
And that's another thing too, is because when I was in the military, I used to I was in finance, and that was one of the things we had to talk to these new soldiers coming in, and I explained to them about that pizza that ended up costing you $50 because you swiped your card, didn't have enough, and back then I think, was it a check or a card? Like, they run it again. Like, it must have been a check. They run it again. So now you've got the fee from the bank, you got the fee from the place you wrote it for. It's just like, and next thing you know, when you get paid, it's like you don't have any money because all the fees came out. And that's something they don't think about. But like you were saying about your discipline or whatever, and it
or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof. That's why I'm thinking, and this is my thought, that if I can get to the kids when they're young enough to form these habits, because that's the thing. It's one thing, we know better now, but again, the habit of it's harder to break a habit or change the habit. So that's why I'm focusing on younger kids to start save money. This is how you do it. So it's second nature. You don't even think about it when you're making 6 figures. It's automatic. My 10% or whatever is going. So so that's definitely something I wish I'd known as well, that financial piece. Tell you, but totally changing the subject, something else I wish I'd known.
See, you just can't see her face.
I was saying, I was watching this movie, and they said they told a lady she couldn't get pregnant if she didn't enjoy sex. I was like, I tell you what, you can. You can. Even if you're not in love. Telling you that right now.
Yeah, those are definitely conversations I wish I had in more detail.
Yes.
As a kid, things that I wish I knew.
Because I told my daughter, I said, you need to really consider who you mate with or partner with, because even if it's unintentional, you could end up being tied to this joker for the rest of your life, pretty much 18 years for sure, but probably the rest of your life.
Right.
So I was like, you think about that stuff. And this, the things that I wish I knew. So I try to tell, my child or, people coming up, but this is so much. And it's just like, if I hadn't done that thing that day, like, what would life look like? But I didn't know.
And I mean, even without having the child part, and something else I wish I knew was just to, when I'm forming relationships, to believe people when they show you who they are. Coming up, like, obviously these are things I know now because I'm cute and 51.
All right.
But these are things I know now because I've gone through so much. But I could have taken a lot of that off of my plate.
Yes.
Had I just paid attention.
Because they were showing you.
They were showing
loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Oh,
and I'm talking about relationships with friends, relationships with men, relationships. They weren't really relationships with women. It's just fun. But I'm just talking about relationships in general.
Yeah, giving of yourself to someone.
To someone
right.
else.
And like you said, if they are showing you who they are, please believe them.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that that's going to be something we say so often when we're having these conversations, because a lot of our history, when we talk about it, which is it's hilarious now. Of course, in the moment it wasn't so funny, but they just those times and those situations could have gone in an entirely different direction if we just paid attention to the signs.
Yeah.
If we just paid attention to who this person was telling us they were. And you always think that maybe things will be different if, or things will be different when.
Yeah.
Or maybe things will be different because.
Why do we do that? Why did we do that to ourselves?
I think maybe it just comes down to wanting to have the relationship, wanting to have that person in your life. You know what I mean? Like, even though you saw the bullshit,
but he was
you
fine.
just you just want to, oh my gosh, like, oh girl, the things he did to me physically. And
but like I said too, like with me, I think I had a lot of low self-esteem, and I was like, oh, he wants to talk to me. So yeah, I guess I did put up with some crap because I knew he was desirable, but evidently he did too. He knew,
and even that comes back to, if I knew then what I know now. If I knew then how much I was worth,
oh God,
clearly I wouldn't have been in some of the situations I was in. But again, those were not things that you talked about.
Yeah.
Then those were not things that our parents talked about with their parents. It's a learned, it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now, knowing what I know, I do try to, impart that wisdom upon my kids. Sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. But I'll give you a perfect example how I know sometimes they do listen. Because my oldest, I heard her talking on the phone. And I heard her say to someone, well, either you're going to talk to me or you're going to talk to her, but you're not going to talk to both of us.
All right now.
You need to figure that out.
Right.
And I was on the outside like,
yeah.
But that tells me she heard what I said.
That's good.
Because me in that same situation back in the 80s, I probably would have been the side chick.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like knowing what I know now that I didn't know then allows me to put that on my daughter's back. So I'm constantly right here on her shoulder, whispering in her ear, don't take that shit from him. You know what I mean?
So you think maybe we had to go through that so we could tell them? Because you know that was me. I told you about me and the dude and the every other one. Sister Wives before Sister Wives was a thing. You know, and I was like, sometimes I was a primary, sometimes I was an alternate.
Play your role, man. Play your role.
And and it was totally unacceptable. And the worst part about it is he wasn't even all that. He wasn't, but I allowed myself because someone wanted to give me some attention.
Right. We kind of got it from where we could get it.
Yes.
And then we accepted what they gave because we either didn't feel like we could get it from someplace else, or that person presented themselves to be in such a way that they had an aura around them that we couldn't see outside of. But if I knew then what I know now, I definitely would not have gone through a lot of things that I went through.
A lot.
I wouldn't have dealt with a lot of people that I dealt with.
I was talking to somebody recently about my earlier days in the military. I was like, I know God wasn't watching out for nobody else because he was spending all his time on me. Because I was just, every time he turned around, I was in some mess that he bailing me out of. Because I said, I look back, I was like, boy, the Lord must have had something planned for me, because there were too many times that I had myself in some stupid situations. Just ignorant. Let me give you one example. I gotta give you one.
I was gonna say, God protects babies and fools.
And I was a fool. My daughter still jokes me about this one. But when I was in the military and my first duty station, I lived in the barracks, and there were no tubs in the barracks. You had to shower with everybody in there. It was just ugh. So this dude, I knew he liked me. I like him like that, but he offered me a hotel room. I'm thinking, I'm getting in the tub. So we were just out and about. And, so he's like, okay, how about a hotel? I was like, cool. So we get in there. I go get in the tub. I'm all like, woo. Come out and put the towel around me and get in the bed. And he goes in there and showers. And he comes over there. And he reached for me. I was like, what you doing? He's like, I thought he was like, no, dude, I was here for the tub.
I can't.
Girl, I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
So needless to say, I had to get up, get dressed. He took me back.
Of course he did.
But the situation I put myself in.
Yes, that could have gone
way.
Right.
Oh my God. Right. I said, Lord, look at that. He was like, oh, here she go again.
Yep. You know he was.
But that tub was good. I enjoyed it.
I'm so weak that it never crossed your mind that he would have asked.
Girl, no.
It never crossed your mind.
I thought he was a nice guy. He knew I wanted to get in the tub. It had been a while.
Oh my gosh. I never heard that one before. Girl, I'm so weak.
I got
you. Were squeaky clean back in the barracks. Woo!
Babies and fools.
Babies and fools. That's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I look back on relationships and if I'm being 100% honest, even knowing what I know now, I might have still been in some of those, right?
Some of them.
I might have, though. Yeah. Even though they didn't end the best way, I still appreciated the time I spent with that person. You know what I mean? There was one person I was pretty sure he was supposed to be the person I was going to be with for the rest of my life. It didn't end up that way. I loved the time that we had together, but now I hear that he's married. He's like this serial cheater. Ugh. Like he's a shitty person.
Wait, is that the dude I dated?
But you know, so I'm sure I can say that even though I'm better versed now than I was then, if I had a chance to do that relationship again, I'd still do it. Because he wasn't shitty to me. Okay. You know what I mean? We just didn't work out as a couple. But gosh, we had such a great time when we were.
Yeah. I can understand.
Yeah.
She's like some of mine though. I figured that they were instrumental in when I got with my husband because he treated me so different. Mm-hmm. You know, so I could see like, oh, you know, this is somebody who really cares about me because I saw what it looked like when you
on the other side, right?
Yeah, so right. You know, I hated to have gone through that, but that's what I got out of it because he was so like, who is this dude? You know, why is he treating me like this? Right. Yeah, I didn't know how to respond because I had been taking so much crap from people, you know, up until that point. Mm-hmm. And it's like, gee, my knees. It's like, dude, if I could have been having this all my life, Mm-hmm. So that's what I try to tell the kids. Like, there's somebody out there who will treat you the way you deserve to be treated. Yeah, and I can attest to that because I found it. Yeah. But like I said, I just wasted time with those duds, and I think they could see me coming. Mm-hmm. You know, definitely. Like thirsty. Here come a thirsty one.
Not even thirsty, but they look for the gullible. They look for the low self-esteem. Yeah. They look for women who will literally put up with that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Guys do. That's
got that radar, and and I was lighting it up. Like here I come, get ready.
Looking like Beetlejuice with the lights. Yeah, I do feel like, and again, if I knew then what I know now, obviously there would be relationships that I wouldn't have been in. I obviously would have made different financial choices, but I don't know. I kind of feel like I would still have let myself experience some of those things, even with the knowledge I have now, because some of those things are what helped make me who I am.
You know, all of those things, actually. All of those things. All of those things.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. All of that stuff actually played a part in who I am. So even having that past knowledge, even having the knowledge that I have now, I probably still would have gone through some of that bullshit.
Like I said, talk about it shaping us. And I had an aha moment when I was in the schools talking to the kids. And I said, oh my gosh, you know, all of that I went through with my struggles with my mental health earlier was so that I could come and talk to them and tell them I can relate to you. And I mean, I'm in there like probably looking all crazy, like, oh my gosh, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
And I said, not that I wanted to go through that, but I see that because I did, I was able to help or, share it with them so they understand they're not alone. I can relate, get help, all of that. And so, like I said, I always, think about, what would I change? And then we talked a little bit, before about like butterfly effect. It's like, I as much as I'd like to say I wish I had never met that joker, I'm sure if I hadn't, right, and if I hadn't, it would have changed the path. And there were some things that wouldn't have happened that I appreciate now, like meeting you, I don't know, meeting my husband, my daughter being who she is. You just never know, that one little ripple, could just tear up everything.
Yep, everything. That's so true.
Yeah,
that's so true.
But all I can say is, while you're in the moment, try to make good decisions. Because it's one thing to go back and say, okay, well, yeah, I got this out of that. But if you can prevent some of that turmoil,
pay attention to the signs,
then your path is going to go, okay, and it's going to end up where it's supposed to. But don't look for the rocky roads.
Right. And that's something that we've talked about before, the conversations we have with our kids. I know you don't believe me now, right? I know that you don't believe me now. I know that as an adult, you're going to think back and say, that's what she was trying to say. That's what she was talking about. However, at least play what I'm saying in your head a couple of times before you do certain things. You do not have to walk the path that I walked. I'm trying to make this easier for you by telling you about my path, telling you what I've learned in my journey. And again, everything doesn't work for every person the same way, but this is why I just ask them to kind of replay the things I say. It may not fit in this exact scenario, but maybe something I said will hit home for you and say, oh, instead of taking this left, I'm going to take the right here. I'm going to go this way because maybe something will, and that's, again, all we can hope for, because once they leave our house.
Because I tell her all the time when she's about to be out of my sight, make good decisions.
Make good decisions.
That's all. Because I tell her, it's like, in a few years, you will be responsible for yourself. Absolutely. No one will be able to make you do anything. Nobody's going to ground you. Right? Yeah. Nobody's going to ground you for not doing it. The choice is going to be yours. And so will the consequences. Whatever happens, it's on you.
Man, that C word. Consequences. That is so big. Like, that word is so big, and it works. It kind of fits in so many different places. But for these kids, like you said, it's not just the consequence of getting punished now, but these consequences that you have as an adult are way different than when you're a kid. Way different.
Because what might get you grounded might get you arrested.
Right.
So,
right. Right. Or the consequence of me having a job at 14 and spending or 16 and spending my money on 40s and weed. It's a whole different consequence as me as a 51-year-old taking my money and spending it on bullshit. And I recognize that because I do it, but my kids don't know I do that because our house is in order.
Yeah, we see, and that's the thing.
But I know I can make different choices for myself when they're out of my house and they're living their own lives and it's just me in my house trying to take care of me. They'll be okay because, I'll hopefully have instilled in them some savings, some investment pieces, and what I don't know, but I can at least direct you to places to get the information. But that consequence of you making bad decisions, going into your adulthood will follow you.
It will.
And you'll be 51 and cute, trying to
get it right. Right, exactly. Because that's what
I don't want them to do.
Yeah, trying to figure it out. So yes, get that started earlier. Because we all want, every generation, I believe, wants the next one to be better.
To be better. I would hope so anyway.
Yeah. That's what I said. I'm out about generational wealth, breaking generational curses. It's like, that stuff is real.
It is.
It is. So I'm just going to keep giving you all the knowledge I can. And hopefully, like I said, you'll continue to pass it on. So one day, this generational poverty or this lacking will be, in the history books. Like there once upon a time was when people didn't know. Right. But, going forward, I don't want them to have the same issues that I had that I wish I had known then. You know, so they're
you don't want them sitting at the table across from their husband crying because
it's that B word.
That B word. Because you didn't have a B word and the card declined when he was trying to put gas in the rig. That's what you don't want to happen.
Yeah.
You don't want to happen where you're trying to go on vacation. And this is what I tell my girls. Right now, like I said, everything in my house is very well taken care of. My girls wouldn't know if we were struggling at all. We're not struggling, right. But you know what I'm saying?
Right. Could be better.
Right.
Like you said,
it could be better. Absolutely could be better. But perfect example, going on vacation. I tell them, when you're ready to go on vacation, I want you to be able to go into your account and pay for your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I have to plan for the vacation. You know what I mean? I have to pay on the vacation until it's time to go. So when we just went to the Dominican Republic, we're going on a cruise in July. We're going to these places. We're traveling, but I have to plan differently for it. I want them to be able to say, yes, let's go on a cruise. Let's book it today. That's the difference. We're going on our trips. For her graduation, we're traveling. For her college, we're traveling. For my youngest, when she graduates, we're traveling. We have all this already planned out. But it's a plan that I have to keep. I don't want them to have to do that.
Well, that's good. And that's good. And it's good to get them exposed to those things. Because growing up, I didn't have any vacations.
Nor did I.
I was like, what is that? Yeah. So it becomes expectation for them. And yes, they need to know what they need to do to be able to continue to do that and to do that for their kids.
Yep.
So if they don't even know the struggles we had, no vacation, so we had to get up and go to the television. Did you have to get up and go to the television to change the channel?
Yes. Yes. They don't even understand the concept of a payphone, a rotary phone. Oh my gosh. Like a couple of times ago, we were in New York. I used to tell my daughter all the time, like, yo, I used to have to walk to school, B. She was like, oh my gosh, they didn't have buses. Yeah, they had buses. We had to pay for our yellow buses.
Oh, wow.
We had to buy bus tickets to get on the bus. Were they $3 for $3? $1 a piece or $2 for some bullshit.
Wow.
But we had to pay for bus tickets. Yes, ma'am. When you're a single parent and you got 3 kids all going to school.
Oh, y'all gonna walk today.
There was a lot of walking, and not just us. So a group of us would be walking to and from school. Yeah. And we didn't even live in the city. Don't forget, we didn't live in the city. So I would tell her, like, because I drive my sedity ass kids to school. They get driven to school during the day. So I was telling them, like, yo, when I was in school, I had to walk to school sometimes. Oh my gosh, you know. So last time we went to New York, I drove her. And when she saw how far I had to walk, she was like, okay, I get it now. And I'm going to tell you, these kids are part of the reason that life cracks us up.
Like, share, follow, and subscribe.